what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best-selling cards in all of a Yu-Gi-Oh! So I just want to do this out the gate. I talked about this card on the penny stock. If you are a subscriber, you already saw this. I do a penny stock market watch, and then I do a regular market watch. The speed duel versions. That's hilarious. This card. So there was an advent calendar. Do they still do advent calendars for Yu-Gi-Oh? One second. Minor tangent. I am so sorry. Can I not spell calendar? I cannot. They stopped doing them. That's unfortunate. Anyway, the reason why Santa Claus is up in value, and I mentioned this on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. Usually, if I don't know why a card is up in value, it has something to do with the OCG. It's just, like, if you saw the video, this is going to sound redundant, but if not, people are different wherever you go. And like, I don't understand, like, yes, like, even in the TCG, right? Like, yes, it's the same game with the same cards in France as it is in Montana, as it is in, Tijuana, as it is in Argentina, as it is in Germany, as it is wherever in Canada. But the people are different. The metas are different. Even like going to different locals, the metas are going to be different. Some locals are more trap heavy. Some locals have more people who have been playing longer, so they play wild decks. Like they have the goo, as it's called. Some people, like, it's just different. Like, yes, we like to find trends in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's very important, especially when you're selling Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, because you're trying to find trends. And a really, really good way to identify where a trend is coming from is the OCG, because there is this somewhat decent-sized pocket of Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG players that are just completely convinced that everything that happens in the OCG is also going to happen in the TCG. And as far as buying and selling Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards is concerned, you can manipulate that. This card was used in a Pearly deck. And the reason why this card was used in a Pearly deck was because it's a kaiju that can be summoned in defense position. So Pearlies run Zeus because Pearlies have towers that can be stacked even outside of just their towers. They also, like, in general, like, what the Pearly archetype does is they shove cards underneath Xyz monsters, right? So if you slap a Zeus on top of that, it's kind of like Borbo, right? Where it's just this humongous 6 to 8, and Zeus is not a hard once per turn, so you just have, like, Zeus that can be activated like 2 or 3 times in a turn, right? So that's super huge. And so people are giving, and because Pearly is really popular over there in the OCG, right? So people are giving their Pearly boss monster, they're tributing off their opponent's Pearly boss monster for Santa Claus. And then they're going to use their own Pearly card to attack into the Santa Claus, to summon out a Zeus and board wipe, right? So with all of that being said, that's why this card, because I said on the penny stock market watch I was going to talk about this card on the regular market watch, because it's no longer a penny stock. I think the cheapest version of this card is $8. I don't think it's a good buy. I don't think that's going to work. I think, yes, Pearly is going to be really scary. I mean, there are good spots to run this card, but the reason that card was being main decked was because Pearly is really popular over there. But a lot of things that I have noticed in the OCG as well is the OCG does kind of lean more towards, like, the OCG has had a lot more tier 0 formats. And it's not just because the ban list is different. It's also just, like I said, the styles of play are different. And so in the TCG, it does seem to be, even during tier 0 formats, we're more fluid. And yes, if a Rise Heart doesn't get hit, or if, Baron de Fleur is made, like, there's a lot of different cards that can get hit with a Santa Claus, but I don't think Pearly is going to be a good enough archetype in the TCG to merit main decking Santa Claus. And if Santa Claus is not mained, it's in the side deck, the hype train is going to go down. I think it is an interesting concept that you can just, give your opponent Santa Claus in defense position. But if you give your opponent a Gamma Seal, and you have an Xyz monster with more than 2,200 attack, you can just attack into the Gamma Seal. Or if you give your opponent a Sphere Mode, I think you can attack into the Sphere Mode as well. I don't think, because Pearlies don't really normal summon like that, but I don't know. Point is, Pearlies, a lot of times they will play around. I went too far back. A lot of times people will play around like Gamma Seal, or not Gamma Seal, but Ring Dragon or Sphere Mode and Lava Golem. And another thing, too, that I think is very important to know is that the Pearly cards, like, people are trying to play, like, people are playing, like, Mask of Restrict, and, like, well, not Mask of Restrict, but people are playing, like, Rivalry of the Warlords. I saw another one on the DB Grinder, I don't remember exactly what it was, but they're playing cards specifically so these can't be kaiju'd. And so, most of these are fairies. I think the new Pearly card, I can't remember what the new Pearly card's going to be, unfortunately. I think it might be a Fiend, but there's a Fiend Kaiju as well. So just something to keep in mind too about main decking Santa Claus. You might bump into like a Rivalry of the Warlords and you can't play it anyway. It's just something to keep in mind. So I don't think it's a good buy, but I did figure out why people think it is a good buy. Same with the Pearly cards. This is crazy. Let's just jump right into this. This is the main thing I wanted to talk about today. So let's just jump right into it. So you can get a regular box for $27. I'd assume at like Walmart. I haven't checked, but I'd assume like Walmart, Meijer, Target, etc. It's about $30. Usually at game shops, it's going to be what the TCG market price is, or a little bit more. Yeah, you have these quarter-century secret rares. Definitely feel like fantastic buys. I would just be wary because let's say you buy all of them. So that would be 27 on Blue Eyes, 17 on Slifer, which is 44, plus 13 for Dark Magician, which is 57, plus 10, which is 67, plus 1250, which is 79, 80, plus 10, which is 90. So let's just say you spend $100 on all of these quarter-century secret rares, right? Just on the off chance that maybe they become $100 in 3 or 4 years, right? And it's definitely possible that that could be a thing, but keep in mind that, like I always say, like these cards are only worth what people are willing to buy them for. These are for some reason not Dark Magician, but the Red Eyes and the Blue Eyes, Obelisk, Ra, and Slifer are all the original arts. This isn't the original art though. I don't think this is the one. This is a nice artwork of Dark Magician, but I don't believe that's the original artwork. So that's cool. Is this the extent of what's in the box? Interesting. So yeah, I think that they're a decent buy. If you played the pre-sale game, you made it work because now it's selling for about $30. So shout out to that. I don't know why. I think maybe I have to try to like click on the packs specifically. Oh, I see. They're those kind of packs. Gotcha. Okay. I forgot that was a thing. Yeah. In addition to the contents are these packs, or these are the cards. These packs right here at the top. Invasion of Chaos is interesting. Okay. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a good buy, but it's okay. And it's one of the best selling cards in all Yu-Gi-Oh. And it does look really cool. I myself personally might pick up the Egyptian God cards because I've wanted to have like a really cool looking version. Like I talked about this with the Starlight Rare Exodia pieces. I just want like a really cool looking thing, like to have like framed or something like that. Just the all 3 Egyptian God cards and the quarter century secret rare could be really cool. And so, hey, maybe in 3 to 5 years you'll find someone like me who's willing to pay like $50 a piece for them. I don't know. I do think that they won't go down in value like the quarter century secret rare. So it's something to keep in mind. This card has just nose dove. Like this is insane. We talked about this card a little bit last week. This is obviously a huge target for the ban list for multiple reasons. But if it doesn't get hit, you could end up making a lot of money off of it. So I don't want to talk about it too much again, but fantastic card. I think we talked about this a little bit too. Zeus. I just wanted to check in to see where the prices are at. The ultis are 70. Actually doesn't feel that bad. Under 70 for ulti Zeus doesn't feel that bad. It's just wild to me that like Santa Claus is expensive because it can help you make Zeus, but Zeus is down. When Zeus is already good, like we know Zeus is already good. Maybe people are worried about preemptively hitting Zeus, but then I don't know why you're running Santa Claus. I don't know. People are strange. So, Runic Tip is interesting. Another card that feels like could end up on the ban list. I don't know if I would get runic stuff right now. I would wait to see. I know it's hard because if you wait to buy runic stuff, you'll end up in a position where it'll be more expensive if it doesn't get hit, which is unfortunate, obviously, but I would wait because I think runic might get hit on the ban list. I don't think punk stuff will out the gate on page number 2. I think that punk has been consistently good, but not like great. Like good in the sense of it could get you your invite, might even get a regional top, but not going to win a YCS. It's a great engine. I don't think emergency teleport's going to get hit. And who knows, like, yes, it's the Grand Creators and Dimension Force as well as Power of the Elements, so like it could end up in the Megatins, which would make all of this super cheap. But I've been talking about the Megatins to an extent for a bit now. And like not every card that's been printed in the last year is going to be in the Megatins. There's just not enough space. So Foxy Tune could end up being a really good buy. We're just going to go power crazy. So Slifer is the next biggest, which is interesting, followed by Dark Magician. Surprising to me that the other... I mean, I know Slifer is used by Yugi, so that maybe that's why that's everybody's... But I feel like Ra. I see more Winged Dragon of Ra's than any other thing. Like a Winged Dragon of Ra mug or a Winged Dragon of Ra t-shirt or something like that. But I know Slifer's used by Yugi, so that could be why. Sprite Blue at 22 feels good. This is another ban list target, though. I do think something's going to get hit with Sprite, and I think Blue is one of the targets, but Blue might get missed. But once again, Megatin conversation. I think this will definitely be a chase card in the Megatins, so I don't think it's a great buy even at 22, but if you can get it for 20 or less, I'd probably pull the trigger. We talked about Super Heavy Samurais to great lengths, I would say, on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch, so go ahead and check that out. And this also brings up an interesting point, too, of, like, if you guys want me to price out what you think a deck, like, hey, I'm interested in this deck, but I don't want to, like, do all of these different things and see how expensive it is, see what cards I need, see what cards I don't need. Can you price it out for me? Let me know in those comments down below. I'll more than happy take a look at, like, an archetype or different things like that. Like, I do that already, but I just do it with, like, random archetypes. So if there's any archetype that you want me to take a look at, make sure you guys let me know in the comments down below. Triple Tactics Talent is pretty crazy. at $15. This is a really good card, and what's interesting about Triple Tactics Talent, I a lot of times will play this card like Upstart Goblin. If you remember when Upstart Goblin was at 3, or even now, Upstart Goblin, you just throw one in there. I a lot of times will throw like just one Triple Tactics. If I have like a 38 card deck that I really, really like, I'll just be like 2 Triple Tactics Talent, because it's so universally good. Like there's so many archetypes, like even like trap heavy decks like Eldritch, Trap Tricks, Labyrinth, they will activate monster effects. So it's just such a good art, like overall card. And the fact that it's like $15, I don't think that's terrible. I wouldn't pay $50 for the secret rare, but this isn't moving. This has not moved. I mean, it's dipped a little bit. Let's take a look at it in the last year. It dipped a little bit, probably when the Magnificent Mavens reprint was announced. I believe that's what this time period was. But the lowest it got to was 40. You know, like that's not bad. So I think they are borderline blue chip in the sense that I don't see them going down in value, especially the secret rare version. But I don't see a reprint coming anytime soon for Triple Tactics Talent. So that's something to keep in mind. Red Eyes is better selling than Obelisk. That's insane to me. But like I think this is still the highest collector's rare. All of Castira's stuff is getting cheap. Holy cow, all of Castira's stuff is starting to get budget, but people know, like, it's an obvious trend where the ban list comes and hurts the best deck. And also, Cyberstorm Access is coming out. Pearly might be better than Castira. I don't think so. I think the ban list is going to have to help Pearlies, but I think that Castira could be a really good buy. Because you could find yourself in a situation where you look at all the Castira stuff like Fenrir, Theosis, Arise Heart, Unicorn, Birth, Rise Heart, Shangri-La. Everything else is borderlining on dirt cheap. What in the Kasha? Yeah, everything else borderlines on dirt cheap. Like if you just bought Castira stuff, I mean, you're looking at Fenrir's $25 for a playset, so that's already $75. But then Castira Theosis, you're looking at about $15, so that's $45 plus a $75 is $120. Plus a Rise Heart, you need at least 2, so that's $140. Tier Elements, you don't really need that one, but you might after the ban list. So that is 7 for a playset. So that's 21. So that's 161. Plus another 21 is 182. Plus Rise Heart's 185. Plus Birth is 186. Plus Shangri-La is 180. Plus Shangri-La Ogre, and the rest of the stuff is like 190, right? And then of course, I believe is it Planet? Is that the name of the card? Why do I not know? Yeah, it's Pressured Planet. And then Pressured Planet's about 30. This might be the card that also gets hit though on the ban list. But then you're looking at about 90 plus 190. 300, still not great, but like a 280, right? For a full Castira stuff. But honestly, like, that's not that bad for Castira. Also could get, the Megaton reprint, obviously, as well. But there are a lot of archetypes, like Tri-Brigade. I just mentioned another one like Eldritch. Ultrageist is getting more support. There are just a lot, like Sky Striker. Sprite at this point is entering that category. Punk is starting to enter that category. I almost called it Rocket Link. Dragon Link has entered that category, where it was like meta decks that don't get completely butchered, like Tier Elements, Orcus, Thunder Dragon, like those type of decks, like that got just destroyed by the ban list. They hang around. Even like Salamangreat has hung around a little bit, and it did get hit pretty hard by the ban list. So unless Castira gets absolutely tier elemented by the ban list, it could potentially be a good buy. But let me know what you guys think. What are the best selling cards that you're looking for in all of Yu-Gi-Oh? Let me know in those comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.